Yeah. Let's protect our hearts against envy and jealousy and sloth, laziness. Let's be like an ant, not like a grasshopper, as the old story goes. All right.
Oh, let's get back on here.
Yeah, let's get back.
You know, they go and fill these wells. What do you suppose the purpose of them filling these wells? Because they wanted to get rid of his legacy, Abraham's legacy, or it's.
I mean, where
They could have used those wells, like they could have used the greenhouses, but yet they've destroyed them. You can't really destroy a well other than filling it in. But
envy has no logic. So, I mean,
okay,
why? It's just because they couldn't stand Abraham, just because they couldn't stand Isaac, just because of baseless hatred. And now we can talk about racism. You know what I'm saying? Like, this passage goes in so many different directions. And we could chase down so many different rabbit trails.
Mm-hmm.
But when people act out of envy, jealousy, and hatred, there's no logic to it. It doesn't make any sense. When somebody says, oh, the left is blah, blah, and they don't really have... and they're just saying it because that's what they heard. There's no logic in it. You can't really argue with it because they're arguing from a place of emotion. When somebody says, oh, the MAGA, blah, blah, like Rosie O'Donnell the other day when there was that mass shooting in Minneapolis again with the transgender shooter shooting up the Catholic school. Even though all the information was already out, she was blaming Trump supporters. White Trump supporters did. No, it was a white guy that pretended to be a woman. He's a liberal. He's a transgender person. Mm-hmm. And everywhere on his rifle and on his magazines, he wrote, "Kill Trump now." Not a Trump supporter. And despite that, she came out with what she came out. And then just recently she had to make another video apologizing for it. Of course, you look at her eyes and she has the eyes of a shark. Dead, soulless. I'm not saying that she's soulless, but that's what it reminds me of. And Philistia was full of Rosie O'Donnells.
The mentality of people is... I think the governor or somebody, one of the Democrats, talked about it was prayer that caused this. I can't remember who said that. It was like, how stupid can people be? I have nothing against Democrats other than the fact they're not Republicans. No, just kidding. I love Democrats just as much as I love Republicans because Jesus said, love your neighbor as yourself, and everybody is your neighbor.
Yeah.
But I just wish they would look at things in reality instead of, what would be a good word for it without being mean? If you had your head screwed on straight and looked at what is going on and the perversion of what's going on in this country and other countries. It's not just us, but we hear it a lot because this is where we live.
Yeah.
But the perversion of what people have done, just like we were warned in this book, that people are starting to call evil good and good evil.
Yeah.
And I'm not apologizing. I'm not saying I'm sorry about this, but the Democrats are doing just that.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that are supporting transgenderism, the LBGKXZMYW, whatever letter you want to put before a person who was born as a male and a female.
How dare you say that? He was born as a woman in the wrong body.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I'm done.
But, I mean, look, we can...
We could go on all day with this.
Oh, yeah. Can of worms. It's open.
Yes.
Thank you, Lord. But, and to be perfectly honest, and look, just to put this out there, if you haven't figured it out yet, I am a registered Republican. Voted Republican all my life because they were the voice of reason in most cases. But, you know, in my later years, I've come to realize what others have previously said. How do you know a politician is lying? Well, their lips are moving. So there's plenty of stuff wrong on the Republican side too, and I don't want this to turn into a Republican Democrat deal. I don't mind if it turns against capitalist against communist. I don't mind if it turns into freedom against tyranny. You know, those are valid and worthy debates. Labels are where it becomes unworthy and, you know, watered down, because, you know, while the Republican position on immigration is misportrayed and twisted in the news, there are some in the camp that actually are anti-immigrants, and that's wrong. We've talked about this plenty of times before. One of the reasons why God judged Sodom and Gomorrah was their anti-poor, anti-immigrant, anti-humanity stance. And if we follow in their steps, we will also experience the same judgment. It wasn't just because they like to... Oh, Lord, I almost said something. It wasn't just because of their sexual preferences. It wasn't just because of this, that, and the other. It was a comprehensive problem with their hearts and minds that included a hatred for the foreigner, and a hatred for the poor, a hatred for the widow, and a hatred for the orphan. And, you know, sometimes the way we frame things, politically speaking, on the right is approaching that level of moral corruption. And let's be honest. So, if nothing else, you know, even if you don't like us because we rail against your favorite liars, we're going to rail against our own liars too. So, you know, equal judgment of all liars.
Yeah. And just to make things clear, please understand, we do not hate anyone.
No.
If you are gay or lesbian, trans, whatever you want to call it, we do not hate you personally. No. We hate the sin, and we'd like to help you understand where that says it in here. And you're always free to send us a letter or email us, or, you know, but understand we're not judging you, especially if you are a non-Christian, if you're not a believer. We don't judge you because you judge yourself. And you know, that's just the facts. But, you know, just make sure you understand we do not hate you. We love you just as much as we love anybody else. But it's the sin that we are trying to make you understand, help you understand why we come against certain beliefs.
Yeah.